interaction touring is a new form of touring that we've developed that engages more directly with the students at the school that has brought us in. It is made up of 3 steps. First, a school will ask us to come to help them deal with issues of homophobia or racism that some of the students at the schools have been experiencing. Usually it's members of the GSA, the Gay Straight Alliance. So we come in and have a visit with them and create a discussion outline, and then also collect stories from them about their experiences with these issues at the school. Then we come back a week later and present to them the discussion outline, as well as some scenes we've created that are based on the true stories we collected from the students and are entirely anonymous. We lead a training on leading a discussion with them, focusing on stuff like boundaries and how to deal with sticky or potentially offensive question and answer situations. And then the next week, we come back to the school and perform for either the teachers or the student body. Regardless, we're performing for a different set of people than we've been working with the past 2 weeks. We perform one of our touring plays that deals with LGBTQA issues, and then afterwards, we lead the post-show discussion according to the outline we had created beforehand. And leading that discussion is someone from About Face, actors from the cast, some of the GSA students, and the GSA advisor as well. In December of 2009, Senn High School asked us to come in and do an interaction tour. They were experiencing a lot of homophobic language being used by students in the classroom, as well as homophobic language being used by a certain number of teachers at the school. A couple weeks after the interaction tour, they invited us to come to their GSA party, and we did. And what you're going to see here are the GSA students at Senn, as well as the GSA advisors, talking about their experiences during the interaction tour, as well as what happened afterwards.
I think the play itself was like awesome, and it was like perfectly entertaining, but it was perfectly serious too. So
cool.
Like I just think that play was so great.
Thanks.
I don't think we would have gotten the dialogue without that.
Right.
Or if you guys as a group, or if anyone would have stood up and just been like, so blah 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 blah, like people would have been like,
no way, no way.
You know,
right?
But that play really impressed people.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that they knew. You know, like they were just blown away by that.
So our group, they were definitely talking about it. There's a group of teachers who's like, well, there's not much we can do because if we like just choose to target like derogatory gay terms, then we also have to stop like racist terms and stuff like that. And that's when we were kind of like, yeah, you're right. This this needs to be added to the list of things that we have to stop in the classroom.
Totally.
But also, our group was pretty receptive to the fact that it was a big problem, and they were willing to do something about it. The play gave them the space, and the breakout gave them the space to realize, like, oh, I'm making a mistake, and it's not like you're making a mistake.
Totally.
It's like, oh, I make this mistake.
Yeah.
A teacher was like, well, why don't you just like, you should just absolutely reprimand like whoever's using this language and like be done with it. You know, they have to be like reprimanded.
Yeah.
We're like, well, we sort of chose this route.
Yeah.
Like, we wanted everyone. We're like, no.
Totally.
You know, and so we didn't single people out.
Right.
We want people. We just want everyone to know. And he was just like, oh, you know, and it was just a good moment.
Someone else was like, well, these people need to be reprimanded. And then from a different teacher, it came like, okay, to reprimand a person like that is, you know, that's not exactly the environment that we want to work in.
Right.
So a better way to deal with that situation is to, like, just discuss with them as a colleague. Like, you know, I heard this happen today, and you know, that's probably really hard for the kid, and, you know, I know it's hard for us too, and you don't have to be on board with it, but, you know, it is part of your job to create a safe space. And that needs to be, like, the discussion among the staff in general.
Right.
And so I think that our group, I think the teachers in there got a better understanding of what to do with the colleague if they're not standing up or if they're using the language or that, which I think is also very important for, like, the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to my department meeting after that, and there was 2 teachers who were like, just kind of like sitting there, like, we had lots of stuff to do in there, so I was like, I had no idea what a big problem this was.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know. I think I just turned myself off to that because I'm not hard on the race stuff, I'm not hard on this.
Right.
And so she was just like, like at first I didn't know what they were talking about. I didn't really get the point, but now, you know, I realized that I need to think harder about what's going on. I need to think harder about protecting everyone in the class.
Yeah.
So having that be like two separate people was pretty powerful.
Yeah.
There's one incident in history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In history class, our teacher asked us how our weekend was. And this one girl was like, well, my weekend was pretty gay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what did you just say? And she's like, my weekend was gay. And she repeated it like 6 times. To her, it's like something she always says.
Right.
And then he's like, but when you say gay, do you actually mean gay? Or why do you say gay? And she's like, my weekend was pretty gay. And he just like snapped on her and he was like, you know, when you're trying to say gay, you're not really meaning gay, you're meaning like, my weekend was dumb, my weekend was boring,
right.
That's not the definition of gay. And she just kind of like stood quiet and was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't say this.
Yeah.
And he was just like, so the next time you say how your weekend is, at least have a description where it don't say gay.
Right.
She just like stood quiet. So.
Well, okay. The teacher came up to us separately. The one who kept saying all the terms,
Yeah.
I guess. And but he came up to us and he told us that he was sorry about saying what he said. That he was trying to change his ways. That he didn't realize. What did he say? That when he was saying
When he said it, that there was people around, and the people around him could get affected by what he was saying. He was just saying it to.
he was just like focusing on the
that one
kids
person.
that he was saying it to.
Right.
So he told us that we didn't have to accept his apology, but that either way he was gonna try to change, and he didn't mean what he said, and so far he's actually done what he said. He doesn't say anything anymore.
So I hope you can see why we're excited about interaction touring and the potential it has for creating safe spaces on high school campuses in and around Chicago. If this is something you are interested in, please contact About Face Theater. My email address is Sarah, S-A-R-A, at aboutfacetheater with an RE.com. My number is 773-784-8565, extension 116, and we look forward to hearing from you.